What's up, everybody?
Hey.
Today is June 28th, Friday, 2024. I'm Gene.
And I'm Zane.
And you're hanging with Uncle.
I'm back. Hey.
Welcome back, man. Glad to see you feeling better.
Oh, yeah. I was kind of gross last week. Didn't want to have me on the show for that one. So we slid out, and I didn't show up. Gene took care of it. He did great.
Thank you.
No questions asked. Don't need to worry about what happened. I just feel better. But overall, I'm glad you guys had a wonderful week. Man, it's Friday.
It is. Don't forget to pay yourself.
Don't forget to pay yourself. It is the end of the week. I'm now getting that Friday relief, realizing I have to wake up for work tomorrow, and we are ready to go. So, we have a large topic to talk about today, and you already know about it, but we're going to start from the beginning. Okay? Gene, take it away.
In the beginning, the earth was void.
No, we're going to talk about the topic of debate.
Yeah, last night was the first presidential debate.
Yes.
And in Atlanta.
My brain could not handle the pace and or anything, that whole debate.
I'll say for me, I watched about 10 to 15 minutes of it, and I'm like, I'm signing off. I will just catch up on the hits tomorrow because I can't watch this whole thing. It's making my head turn to mush.
When they started talking about their golf game, that's when I turned it off.
But
we'll get to that later on.
So, it's like I hear, going into the thing how Democrats are in panic, Biden was in decline. But I can tell you my takeaway was that initially Biden was really, really slow to get started.
Oh, man, he was one of the slower horses out of the gate. Sure.
It was like, he took off from the starting lines on Grease.
Yeah. Holy moly. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, that's where my brain was like, holy God, what am I listening to? Because I couldn't quite focus, because I had it playing in the background, gaming.
Yeah.
And I was playing and listening to it. I wasn't watching, I was listening to it on a replay. And
so
at the beginning.
That's one half, because there was another person in the race.
Yes, there was another person in the race, and that horse, was it a horse or was it a zebra in the race?
It was. Oh my God! Again,
imposter.
One of the things that really gets on my nerves is when somebody insults my intelligence, and the way people do that is by lying to you.
Yes,
and that is what Cadet Bonespurs, convicted felon 45, did the whole night. And I'm just like, I'm like, I'm not like trying to find ways to come to Biden's defense, but I can tell you in, my first semester in college taking oral communication, we had debate as part of our some quarterfinals, right? And the first thing they teach you is challenge everything. So, like Biden said after the debate, and it's very true, it's very difficult to debate a liar, because not only do you know what they're saying is false, but if you're running on the platform of saying he's a liar, you have to make sure you're not lying when you start making accusations.
Make sure you're telling the truth.
Exactly.
Yes.
So you could see, like, maybe that might have been the reason Biden was holding back, pulling the trigger, because the facts were there. Maybe he was just doubting himself and didn't want to say the wrong thing. But as the debate went on, man.
He sharpened up. He did sharpen up. I honestly, like, overall, a liar can't win a debate. So you already know by default who won the debate. But there were some concerns on the Democratic side themselves about the performance of Biden. Yes, we have talked and discussed about how president is not meant to debate. Right? That's not their job. It isn't their job. But we want to at least have them understand and speak well and kind of tell us the truth and be a straight shooter. Now, I have a kind of a little complaint to this, because me growing up as a kid, like what president really like meant and like defined to me was like every president as a kid, no matter Republican or Democrat, I liked because I thought they were like
you give them that respect.
Exactly, right?
Yeah,
exactly. So you love them for their schmooze or their smooth talk or their speeches that are powerful or the things that they did that they stood up for that meant something, right? Like those are the things that you were taught about that president. And at the moment right now, I don't feel like we have somebody who fits the description for me in a way right now. Because
you're not in that big of a minority,
no,
or if you're in the minority at all.
And no matter what you feel about the person individually or the president individually, from Obama, who had a beautiful speaking voice, was able to speak and schmooze and charm the audience and make you feel a part of the conversation and make you feel like he knows what he's talking about. Right?
Yeah.
Even then, he put out a statement about Biden's campaign himself. He has gray hair, everything, and he's speaking crystal clear the same way he always has. And I'm like, oh, there he is.
He's still 20 years younger than Biden.
I know, but I understand. Jesus Christ. That's crazy to think. But anyways, they have to have that sort of something to me. And I just feel like now it's not that. It's more of, it's a popularity contest in a way. It's not somebody looking for somebody who wants to represent us the best way and makes us look good. It's just barking and or falling asleep and or stumbling on words all the time.
And that's funny because honestly, the presidential race is the only race that is not a popularity contest because
it feels like
not.
One, though,
it's not every vote counts. It's an electoral system,
right?
So again, Al Gore should have been president, not George W. Hillary should have been president, not Cadet Bone Spurs. They won the popular vote.
Due to popularity.
Right, so the Electoral College is, number one, needs to be abolished. And why? It's because it's designed to give the Confederates, the slave states, or what we would call today the red states,
right,
an opportunity to have a say in government. And not that that's a bad thing, but we have to look at what they're trying to say.
I think what I'm missing is, what I'm trying to say is I'm missing the old government that we had back when it was actually a friendly competition between Mitt Romney and Obama.
Even Obama and McCain.
Like, that was great, too. Yeah, the Obama-McCain was good, too.
So actually, I could tell you this, man, even going back to your earlier point. Richard Nixon, I remember being 8 years old in my third grade class when Nixon was running for president against Humphrey. And our class voted.
On our own?
On our own.
Whoa, I remember that, too.
And it was like Nixon won by a landslide.
Obama won in mine for a landslide.
Only 3 students in my third grade class voted for Hubert Humphrey. I was one of them.
Hell no way! That's funny. But like, overall, I think what I'm trying to say is like, not necessarily I'm missing the old government, but I think we're realizing now as Americans, all of us, I think, are realizing, the majority here, that where did we go wrong? Where did we steer?
So going back to Nixon, right?
Yeah.
The guy was a criminal.
Yes.
If it wasn't for Ford pardoning him, he would have been the first president convicted.
Why did Ford
convicted? Just to like squash the issue. Let's get on with the business of the country. And I'm really dumbing it down. That's why Ford pardoned Nixon.
Okay.
But even then, even though he was a criminal,
that's another episode, huh?
You still have to look at the good things that he did as president for us, the people, because we have the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency,
right? Because
of Nixon. We have the DEA because of Nixon. Unfortunately, we have the war on drugs because of Nixon, and Nixon's the one who put marijuana on Schedule 1.
And you were within that, weren't you?
I was 8 years old, and I was, again, not of voting age during his presidency, but I remember things from his presidency.
You kind of got to see the fallout of it as a content cop then.
You know, it was just like that whole administration was corrupt. Number one, all right, I mean, look at all the convicted felons that were in the Nixon administration, from his chief of staff to the attorney general to his advisors. I mean, hell, his vice president, Spiro Agnew, avoided prosecution in lieu of resignation. So he resigned the vice presidency, which is how Ford got it. And so he wouldn't be prosecuted. But Agnew was one of the biggest criminals, you know.
I have to ask, though, like, with where I'm coming from with my, like, earlier statement about just, like, in comparison to all the old presidents versus now, it's like, I really do feel like we are missing that leadership that brings everyone back together again. Even though there were oppositions then on, I still really strongly feel that the government back when they weren't arguing about old points and they were moving forward and trying to do advancements in life and be progressive in different directions, where both sides were progressive in their own right? In their own way, if you think about it. We're not seeing that now. We're going backwards.
Reagan gave immunity to like 8 million immigrants. Just like, you know, I'm not going to fight you guys. You know, I'm going to take the easy way out, wash my hands. Fuck it. You guys have immunity. You're said,
go do what you want.
Right. Pretty much. Reagan did that.
Go do what you want. Be like, that's moving forward, stopping the issue. All right, we're done with this and moving on, right?
Right.
Being progressive. What was the major point in our debate from last night that made you feel, or I feel even, that we are looking at forward and progressive issues?
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, because one thing that really resonated in me about the debate is the contrast between the two candidates. Because we've seen Biden in office, we've seen Trump in office. Okay, what did they do during their presidencies? Economically, in a 4-year period, Trump added $8 trillion to the deficit, where Biden's added $4.
Okay.
Unemployment was much higher under Trump. He was telling motherfuckers to drink bleach. I mean, come on, I really have to keep going?
The economy is much better. I have more money in my wallet. Good
people on both sides.
More money in my wallet and my stocks.
But those people that are in that realm to take advantage of it, that's not us.
Exactly.
You know, and I can't say there's nothing Trump didn't do good in his presidency.
The bump stock ban was great.
The bump stock ban was great. There are some things he fell into backwards that were for the benefit of the people. So, I mean, I apply the blind squirrel to getting a nut.
He got one.
Right. But I mean, with Biden, we've had the CHIPS Act, which are bringing jobs. So when people talk about jobs the president has created, that's a misnomer.
Okay.
Because if a private company hires you, is that the president? If it's the president, does your company get government funds? If not, the president didn't create your job.
Okay.
But the CHIPS Act, which now takes manufacturing of our computer chips from overseas here to the United States, those chips still have to be created, and they're being created here. And those are jobs that cannot be outsourced.
Okay.
And you're creating jobs.
New jobs.
So when you look at things like that,
there's a new economic resource we have obtained.
Exactly.
Not that there's new doors and new offices opening up at APS.
Right. And so not only when I compare what they did during their administrations, I also look, like you said, the president's job is not alone. He always has his chief of staff by him, or advisors.
True. Before making decisions.
He has presidential briefs every day. He's surrounded by people. So who has Biden surrounded himself with versus who has Trump surrounded himself with, and who does he plan to surround himself with?
All the felons, you mean?
Right. So that's the way I look at it.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, I agree with you.
So, you know, it's like just peel back the layer, an onion or two, and it's like, again, what's foreseeable? And there, even though, again, he started off very slow, he finished strong. There's still no doubt in my mind that Joe Biden is the right man to vote for. And if something were to happen to him, Kamala Harris would be a very competent president.
It would put the foot down too. I think that yeah, absolutely. But you're not wrong. Is this a vote of? It's obviously what's the best choice, right? Could there possibly be a better choice?
In my opinion, yes.
Yes. Okay.
But again, when you have that's that whole thing how we talked about before. And I got to tell you guys, Zane kind of hit me upside the head with a brick a couple of times to understand this.
Okay.
You know, there are some, but because of the party loyalty, because, you know, it's like Hillary was destined. They had her on the glass ceiling breaking it. I'm president, bitch. You know, I'm just, I'm measuring the windows for curtains and shit. And now, look, you got egg on your face.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, that's the kind of mindset we need to break away from. And there is a guy I really like that I think would be good in the job as president, and that's Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro.
I've heard the name.
So, I mean, yes, there is somebody better, but he will never buck the
responsibility,
the administration, you know, the party.
Okay.
But I think
the future is not.
Watch his name come up in 28.
I would say the future is not, because if Biden wins, because we can't say if he is going to or not, never know. If Biden wins, that is not only 4 years of him sitting in the seat, but it's 4 years of us being able to prep and prompt for somebody next. Which is, I think, what most of us are agreeing about, which is I was circling back to. We need the new blood, man. I'm trying to get this to be like everybody say it, because more people are saying it. I'm seeing more people say it. Age restrictions, date restrictions, limitations, stuff for these people who have been sitting in office for decades. We need to somehow find out how to get a new filter system in there, because we are literally drinking the water of a nasty filter system that has been working for years.
You get in that position of power, the money starts coming in. You don't want to walk away from that.
No, but you kind of have to. The generations go by.
You know, if you're a person of character, you ignore the money, because, I mean, let's face it, I think if you were elected to Congress tomorrow, your starting salary would be somewhere like $170,000 annually.
Okay.
And that would pay the bills at home. It would still be expensive to live in D.C. because it's not cheap, and that's really not a lot of money. I think there's an apartment quarter in your congressional office. I know a lot of people that used to live in their congressional office because of that. But, you know, you make it work. It's not a job you do for money. Otherwise, you're in the wrong job.
It should be that way, but it doesn't seem like that's the idea.
It's not. Right. It's all about Benjamins, man. That's all it is.
So
they use their congressional offices as ATM machines.
So we got to take money out of the game.
Yes.
That's the big move.
And that would, to me, would start with repealing Citizens United.
Okay.
Wow. Because that allows dark money. So say, for example, Zane, you're running for Congress. I'm the super PAC. And, you know, this lighter is a billionaire and wants to donate money to you. Now, legally, I think the biggest you can make, I think, is like $2,700 to a campaign. Okay. So how do you donate millions? You put it in the super PAC, and the super PAC takes care of Zane.
Gotcha.
And that is why we need to get money out of politics. Yes.
That makes sense. No, we got to go back to our debate topic, because we are getting close to time already. It's already been about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
The debate last night. You wanted to bring up the definition of debate.
Okay. Debate is views on a topic. Number one, addressing what it is, what the deficiency is, if any, and how to improve it. That is what a debate is.
So, understanding that there's an issue and both putting their points to it to come to a conclusion or some sort of agreement about how to solve said issue. Maybe?
Exactly. And honestly, the perfect example of that was the immigration bill that was in the Senate, negotiated from Senator Langford, Senator Sinema, and Senator Murphy.
Yeah.
One was a Republican, one's a Democrat, and one's an independent.
And they all were like, yep.
And they said, here is the immigration plan. Biden said, yes, do it. And Trump said, no, kill it, because I want something to run on. So a lot of Republicans were pissed on the issue of immigration for that reason, because, and they have resigned from Congress because you guys aren't here to do serious work.
Now, with the definition of debate and understanding how it is to come to a conclusion and discuss something, you and I both do that on the occasion sometimes. We talk and discuss and debate on things. Was that what happened last night?
It was more like
a fact check. It felt like
it was like going through a gauntlet.
Yes.
It was like everywhere attacks are coming from you that are untrue. And I even like how when they talked about veterans, how Biden put him in his place, talking about Bo, who served in Iraq or Afghanistan, came back with glioblastoma, which is, remember Claudia?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yep.
And was like really pissed, like my son was not a sucker and a loser. And in my opinion, somebody who's draft dodging because of fake bone spur injuries, that's the sucker and the loser. And that's how I
and
look
that's
at
what
you.
he said. Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good punch too, actually. Yes. Debster chimed in and she agreed that they both are too old to run and we need something new. I think everybody else is understanding that at the moment.
It's obvious.
It's reform time, I think. Have America reform again.
And okay, again, worst case scenario, God forbid something happens to President Biden. Kamala Harris becomes president. She's not too old to do the job.
No.
But here's a trivia question.
Yes.
Okay. Who's the only person to serve as president of the United States without being elected?
Without being elected?
Without being elected. Do you know, Deb?
Without being elected?
Without being elected.
Was it within my lifetime?
Yeah. No.
So yeah, that's where it gets hard for me.
I'll give you a hint.
Nixon.
We've mentioned him before. You're getting warmer. You're like really hot.
Reagan?
Oh, you're getting colder.
Colder, and so Nixon. No. Who?
Gerald Ford.
Ford. Oh, you said his name earlier. Damn it. Gerald Ford. Yep, Dev said Ford. Dang. Okay, I'll have to look up Mr. Ford a little bit more because I don't think I know much about him. So
he was president for 2 years. He was in Congress before that, and he was actually an All-American at the University of Michigan for playing football.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, Gerald Ford was a bad dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to look into him a little bit more. If it's not within my lifetime, I really think I don't know much about him. Besides, like, the typicals, like George
But
Washington.
he lost the election to Jimmy Carter because we had de-escalated and pulled troops home, and Ford was getting ready to send him back.
Deb was 7, she said.
We're close to the same age.
Wow. 7 years old. Yeah, I didn't exist. I wasn't an idea at the time. I was not an idea. I think we are all realizing what's going on with our country. As of last night, I think that's kind of the big take back of last night. Is what I wanted to get to. I was hoping Debster would be here today because I think she also has kind of that same idea from what she had said earlier about the age part. That Yeah, I think it's time for a little
There's so
bit of
many
change.
people that think that. However, because the parties operate the way they do,
yes,
Biden's who they have selected. He's got, the...
It's too late to change now. Exactly.
It is.
It's too late to
and
change
it's
now.
who the parties are shoving down our throats, whether it be on the Democratic side or the Republican side. Because I promise you, there are Republicans that 100% disagree with Donald Trump. People like Liz Cheney.
There are. Absolutely.
But are people strong enough to say, you're not going to hijack our party anymore? We're going to put what conservative means really back in government, and then watch parties actually work and ebb and flow start again. Because to me, like, this all started when Obama got elected and people freaked out there was a black man in the White House.
Good. I laughed so hard when that happened.
Oh my God. So I mean, that is a whole nother show.
But it is a whole other show. But you're not wrong. Debster did bring up a point here. She said Ford had a different name. It was Leslie King Jr. He was adopted by his stepfather. Fun fact of the day there. We're throwing that in there. I think that's really cool. Thank you, Deb. I am learning some new things. I got to look into him a little bit more. But, yeah, she also agrees that it's time for both of them to go.
Yeah.
I'm reading that right now.
Maybe because of his age, maybe, and the other one because he's a pathological liar, a con man, a convicted felon, and he's untrustworthy.
But she said she was listening in the car on the radio 20 minutes ago, and the guy said both Trump and Biden have to go. So it's even more of a popular opinion if it's on the radio.
Yeah.
So time is of the essence for a change, I think. It's not that because we think Biden is something that needs to go out right now. No, he stays. Stay put. Next person up in line comes in.
Yeah.
Because like you said, he does have good people around him. He absolutely does.
So then think about it. If something happens to Kamala Harris, who's next in line for the president? The Speaker of the House. That'd be Mike Johnson. So it's important when you vote and why each election matters.
Who's who and what's what.
And what's what. Because, again, if Democrats hold the House, Hakeem Jeffries will be the Speaker. And then he would be next in line for the president if anything happened to Biden and Kamala.
That's crazy. So, yeah, there's a hierarchy for that.
There is a hierarchy, and we have to understand who these people are and the direction they would take our country. Because as far as I'm concerned, a lot of them are Russian plants. Like Margarine Trader.
That's a whole other episode. We already know. But we're going to get into our dumbass of the week because we have big ones here, and we have only a few minutes to go. Would you like me to start?
Sure.
So, big gamer news. If you haven't been a part of the waves lately, then really, I don't know where you've been. Dr. Disrespect was banned off of his Twitch platform, which is a live streaming platform 4 years ago. And now, as of a few days ago, we have come to a conclusion and found out why. From him himself. He lost some big partnerships because of the resurfacing of the issue. People started talking about it more and more, and the snowball started rolling. Then it started jumping and bouncing and collecting more when a company that he partnered with 50-50 split from him to do their own thing and cut him from it. Also, all the others like NBA 2K and all the others, they're removing him as well. YouTube stopped monetizing his videos because of said statement. Everyone has been waiting to know why I was banned from Twitch, but for reasons outside of my control, I was not allowed to say anything the last several years. Now that 2 former Twitch employees have publicly disclosed the accusations, I can now tell you my side of the story regarding the ban. Were there Twitch whisper messages with an individual minor back in 2017? The answer to the question is yes. Were there real intentions behind these messages? The answer is absolutely not. There was casual mutual conversation that sometimes leaned much in the direction of being inappropriate, which is where I'm going to stop it because that's where basically nothing else matters in the conversation because it would go inappropriate sometimes with a minor, which is why he was cut from Twitch and all his other revenue that he's getting at the moment because more and more things are happening. More and more people are coming out because of Cat Williams, baby. That's why I wanted to circle around too. The truth will be revealed. And it is happening. Dr. Disrespect was, yes, like the accusations rested messaging minors and cheating on his wife multiple times, apparently, and Twitch did not want to support that, so they removed him. In a mutual clause where they paid out the rest of his contract, which was kind of sketchy to us because they know how to cover things up. But anyways, Doc gets the dumbass of the week because pedophilia is not okay.
No.
So
my dumbass of the week is this guy's an up-and-comer.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, we got Republican James Comer from the great state of Tennessee, chair of the Oversight Committee, holding a hearing this week on China. And how Joe Biden is weak on China and we need Donald Trump in there because he'll be tough on China. And then the receipts came out, you know, like you said. After Trump released the ban on a Chinese group, I forget what it was, Ivanka was given patents or trademarks. And he got a lot of money from China in violation of the emoluments clause for staying at his hotels or renting rooms at his hotels and inviting him down to Mar-a-Lago. And he called President Xi a good guy, and they had a really good relationship.
I remember that, yeah.
He knows how to govern, and that's the guy who's going to be tough on China. So I'm just like, come on, man. You know, you really got to stop making yourself look stupid. You're a dumbass, and the election is just a couple of months away, man. Just sit down, shut up, and let the time pass when Democrats take control of the House.
There were many moments within the debate that were things that you all should go check out and watch. We're not going to tell you all about it. We leave it for you guys to go find it on your own. Like I told you before, not that news station. We're just here to talk about how we feel about things.
Yeah.
I'm Zane.
I'm Gene.
It's been Hanging with Uncle.
Please hit that subscribe button and that like button and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified whenever we put new content out there and go live.
Boom! Have a good weekend, everybody.
All right. Be kind to one another and treat each other the way you want to be treated.
Don't forget to pay yourself. It's Friday.
Amen.
Woo!